All right. Y'all know what it is, man. It's the Day Porter Podcast. Your host, Go Lucky. And I am sitting here now with the lovely Trinity Albrina. How you feel?
I'm feeling excellent. I feel good.
All right, listen. First of all, you're wonderful. You have nice popping colors.
Thank you.
And inspired by, what was the outfit inspired by?
Inspired by Albrina.
Inspired by Albrina. Shout out to her assistant right here, Toya. Toya is the greatest, y'all.
Yes,
she's
cousin.
taking pictures. She's doing
Makeup.
She's doing photo shoots. Did she drive you over here?
Well, yep, she drove us here too.
So listen, first of all, I found you on Instagram, and once I looked at what you was doing, I thought that was very, very inspiring. You know what I mean? Talk to me about how did you get into cards, and first of all, tell me about how did you get involved in this?
So honestly, this whole greeting card concept was extremely new. I would say I had the idea for about 3 months tops.
Okay.
Originally, I was writing inspirational quotes, and that came from me being on Snapchat, and I would just be like, okay, I'm going through something personally. What can I say to myself to kind of like get me through this?
Right.
So I would just write a quick quote on my Snapchat, and I was like, oh, people are screenshotting this, and they're writing me like,
really?
Yeah, they were screenshotting, and they would write me like, oh my gosh, like that inspired me or that motivated me, and I'm just like, oh, like that wasn't even my intent with that.
Right.
So I became more intentional about writing quotes, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do an inspirational page, and I'm also a life coach. So like, as far as my life coaching and my quotes, and
they go hand in hand.
Yes, like basically it goes hand in hand. And then as far as the greeting cards, I'm like, okay, quotes translate into short messages. How can I actually do something more with just quotes?
Right.
And I think I forgot which holiday it was, but I was looking for a card for my grandmother. It was probably Mother's Day before.
Okay.
And whenever I go, I'm very intentional about my card selection. Like I want the words to match, I want the picture to match. Everything.
The whole package.
Yes.
I got you.
So when I go somewhere like Walgreens or CVS and I'm trying to pick out a card, and I can literally spend like an hour and not find what I'm looking for. So I'm like, okay, I want to see representation of melanated people of color. And I don't see that a lot. Like it's very rare. Out of all of the cards I've purchased for like my grandmother or mother, I found one. And I'm like, let me be that change. Like,
and I'm glad you pointed out, because as you was talking, that was the first thing that popped to me. Like, well, it's for you to do it. You know what I mean? It's the reason why nobody else has done it or is not on shelf, because that's for you. It's for Trinity. You know what I mean? So I got the same inspiration when you was explaining to me, when you told me. I was like, why didn't I think of that? You know what I mean? I was like, why did I think of that? You know, but that is a great idea, and it's a great gesture, it's a great movement, because
thank you.
Honestly, for the record, I've never seen nothing like this in stores. I've never seen this on the shelf. So now, and we're gonna pitch this to Hallmark. We're gonna pitch this. Whoever else needs to grab this and make this go mainstream, and make sure you get all your credit, all your justice, because guess what? It's going to happen. You know what I mean?
I received it.
Exactly. Let's go back for a second. Where are you originally from?
I am from Danville, Illinois.
Pronounce that first one again.
Danville, Illinois. Population of about like 32,000 people. Really small country.
And right now we're in the city of Dallas, Texas. How did you navigate here?
Originally I was in San Antonio, Texas. I went there to student teach. I'm a teacher. So I did my student teaching in San Antonio because I knew I wanted to live in Texas. I love the area, the cost of living, the weather. So I was there for about 3 years. And I have family out here. I didn't have any family in San Antonio. So I moved out here. I have cousins, my dad, my aunt, so that's how I came to Dallas, and that's better than San Antonio. So.
And I'm glad you are here, because if you wouldn't have came here, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you right now. You know what I mean? So think about it, y'all. She works with kids. She's a life coach. She's doing greeting cards with people that look like me and her. we're talking about that's 3 different levels of inspiration. That's 3 different levels of motivation. You know what I mean? And you're a woman, so there's women empowerment. Shout out to the women empowerment. You know what I mean? So,
yes, for the women.
I love it. How you was talking about your Instagram? You said people were screenshotting your messages.
Yeah, so on Snapchat, so people started screenshotting the quotes, and I'm like, okay. I've always liked wordplay. Like I even used to rap a little bit in high school. So like,
wait, hold up.
Look, we are not going there.
She's also
a
young female Dixie in here, y'all.
It's fast tense.
Just go get it.
But yeah, so I'm like wordplay. I like playing with words. I like being inspirational. Just naturally, like friends, family, they ask me for advice. So that's how I got into the whole life coaching thing. But yeah, the quotes then, seeing this need for a card like this, and even the situations with my cards are unique. Like the card for my own mother, my mother was a drug addict. Right. So I wanted a card that spoke to that because our relationship isn't the typical like hallmark, like Happy Mother's Day, I love you, you've always been there. No, that's not our narrative. It's different. I still love her. She's still a queen in my eyes. But in my card, I also talk about like there was nights where I was crying and wondering where you were at. Right. So, like, I wanted to just not just have the representation of the melanated people in the front, but also our unique situations.
Facts. And first of all, it takes a lot to speak on stuff like that. Because I can identify with that. Like we spoke earlier when I first met you on the phone. I myself watched my mother go through substance abuse for years. You know what I mean? And I didn't understand this. Of course, I just thought it was just, hey, man, this is what parents do. Mm-hmm. Until once I got around other kids that wasn't for the same background I was from, and I saw other women, their mothers was getting up and going to work.
Right.
My mom was getting up cooking dope. Then when the dope ran out, she started using the dope. You know what I mean? And that was not fun for me. You know what I'm saying? So it was to the point to where, for me, I didn't even want my friends to come around my house because that was like totally embarrassing to me. So let me explain. Well, let me ask you this: while you were in it, how did it make you feel?
So the way it worked for me, I'm the oldest out of my siblings on my mom's side, and I lived with her until I was about like 7, 8, and. Like you said, like you don't realize anything is wrong at first because this is the norm for you. So it's like, okay, everything is fine. With my mom, stuff is good. I had a younger brother who was 3 years younger than me, and then I had a newborn sister at the time when like things started changing. So one morning I woke up to get ready for school, and I remember going into the living room, and my newborn sister was in her bassinet. My little brother was still in the bed, and I'm looking around like, okay, where's mama at? Like, I know it's time for me to go to school.
Right.
And she wasn't there. So I'm like,
and how old were you at the time?
I was like 7 or 8, and I'm like, okay. So me always being a little smart for my age, I'm like, okay, let me grab the baby and my brother, and I'm knocking on the neighbor's door, like, can I use the phone?
Right.
So I called my grandmother, and of course they're already aware that like this is a problem. They didn't realize how deep it was, and that's when my grandmother realized that okay, like we have to take action. Like she's leaving the kids, like, and that's when DCFS got involved, and then my grandmother ended up having to adopt us and take custody of us.
Wow. So you guys had to go to another household.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't have that luxury. Let me say this, and like we spoke on the phone, it's like through God's grace that made me stronger because I saw what was going on because I was in it. I knew it wasn't right, but I just thought as a child psychologically, I just like got a pen and just started doing check marks saying, okay, I'm not going to do that. Definitely not doing that. Definitely not doing that. You understand what I'm saying? Because through life, things happen. Well, before we go into that, what made you put that in here? You know what I mean? Because the psychological part was there, but what made you say, because you have to think about how would your mom feel about this. You know what I mean? So I want you to know, explain that process.
So this was not the first time that I had kind of publicly spoken about my mother's substance abuse. When I was in college, I did an interview for the scholarship I received, and it was from DCFS. So my story with my mother was relevant, and they wanted me to speak out to kind of, they were trying to get rid of the scholarship, so I had to speak it out, and I'm like, that's important, like, because I'm in the system. My mother was a drug addict, so that was the first time I publicly put it out there.
Right.
So before I get this greeting card, I had a conversation with my mother, and I told her, like, hey, I'm making this card, like, you are the inspiration behind it, and, you know, I want to know, how are you going to feel? And before I released my website, I said, in my bio, I say my mother was a drug addict, and I was raised by my grandmother. I want to talk to you about it first. And she was like, you know what, I understand. She's like, I just want you to make it clear that we do have a good relationship now. And I'm like, everyone who knows me and everything, they know, like, you're still in my life, like, we're good. I said, it's not to bash you or anything. Like, if you read the card, like, I call you my queen, like, but you have to understand that this is part of my story. Your actions affected my life.
Facts.
So that's just my truth.
Facts.
So she, in that conversation, she received it, she respected it, but as it has moved along, and I've acknowledged my aunt and said, you know, you stepped in the gap when my mother wasn't there, or like my friend's mom, like, you also did that. And it has kind of hurt her, like, it has, because it's like, okay, now you're not leaving it alone. Like, now you're saying these other people were there, and I wasn't. But once again, like, Mom, that's the truth. Like,
let me ask you something. How did it affect you as a young woman?
Honestly, it was something that I really struggled with, because I went through different phases. Like, okay, throughout elementary, middle school, I was ashamed, because it's like sleepovers or just like Mother's Day. I'm just always in this awkward situation. Like, okay, well, my granny's gonna come to the school, but now it's grandparents' day, so now my granny has to come. What's happening here? And not being able to explain, because kids, you know, they don't have a filter. So they're like, where's your mom at? Why you live with your granny? And I'm like,
they ask some questions.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, what do I say? Then my grandmother was always good about not telling me the details. So just, your mom's on drugs. Like, I didn't know, like, your mother does crack. Like, I don't know. I'm just like, well, she does drugs. Well, your mama don't do drugs. I don't want to tell you that. So I went through that whole being ashamed. Then I was upset, because now I have siblings. I have 5 siblings on her side. So now you're not just hurting me, now you're hurting them. So I was angry. Like, now you're hurting my siblings. Now I'm grown enough to deal with it, but you're hurting them.
And that was going to be my next thing, because in my household, I was the youngest.
Okay.
Me and my older brother. Which in return, because we're going back and forth here. Like I said, my mama sold drugs as well. See, the difference is, like, my mom wasn't an addict. She was a user.
Okay.
She was a substance abuse user. Because even in that world, I saw people that used to come to my house with the work uniforms on and come to my house. My mama would lock them in the room, and they would spend all their money with my mama. Or people would come bring all their furnitures and their groceries from the house, weed eaters, lawnmowers, in exchange for credit for cocaine when they didn't have the money to. So I saw then early on that you can have a regular job and still do drugs and still blend into society. It's what you call drug abusers and drug users. A drug user can live a normal life and you would never know. You understand? And a drug abuser is somebody that's going to do anything. They'll sell this. Sell it to you, steal it back, and sell it to you again, and will convince you that this is not the same one. You know what I mean? So, let me see. Because it's like me. You like rooted, what they say, like the road that grew from the concrete. Like, you're special, you know what I mean? Because those actions is what made you the person who you are today. You know what I mean? I remember the first time I worked for a juvenile facility, and I got up to speak. First time I was at the facility, and it was like 60 kids. And they wanted me to get up and speak, and when I got up, I couldn't get a word out. I just immediately just became emotional, because I just looked into their eyes and I was like, y'all don't even know what y'all facing, or y'all don't even know what y'all can become, because y'all still in it. I was out of it, looking back into the people that were still in it, you know what I mean? So, and I'm glad you brought that up about your siblings. Like, how did they develop like you, or are they still growing into that, you know?
That's a huge thing right now. Like, as they grow older, and when I say we, my grandmother and I, we're like noticing, okay, this is how it's impacting them. Because as little kids, you don't really know. But like my younger brother, the one who's 3 years older than me, like he definitely is experiencing some emotional difficulties as a result of that.
Right.
My sister right underneath him, it comes out through anger. So it's like she has a lot of anger issues. And then my other sister, right beneath her, they're 18 months apart, like mentally it impacted her, like she has a learning disability.
Right.
Then one of my sisters, my aunt ended up adopting her. My aunt passed from cancer, so she's with my aunt's husband. And she knows we're her sisters, but she doesn't even know the whole backstory. Like, this is how we're your sister and we're your cousin, and we don't see her like that. And my youngest brother, that's like my son, we have the same birthday, and I'm actually trying to get him out here to live with me because I'm seeing how it's like the environment he's in. And I'm seeing that I try to instill that strength in them, but they're not all Trinity. And I don't say that to sound cocky, but it's like they do not have the resilience, the same skill, the same mindset. Like, I want to use this to motivate me. So it's like with him, I can see like he needs to be in a different environment. He needs to see something different. Right. And he's the only one who really lived with her. Right. And she's like in and out, and he doesn't have structure. It's not stable. So like I'm trying to get him here so I can be that for him.
So let me ask you something. So we're and I don't want to just make this about your mom, but the reason why I want to speak on this because there's a lot of my moms in that camp. There's a lot of your moms in that camp, and those are the people who I want to speak to, and those are the people who we are speaking to. You know what I mean? So this is for the viewers. We're not bashing our moms.
Not at all.
We just
That's
telling
our
the
truth.
story, right? We just telling the story, because I didn't realize how much I had in me anger, like you were saying, anger. Like when I went to school, I remember my 6th grade year in school, I didn't do anything. I would sit in the class and just teacher would be writing stuff down on the board. I would be answering the questions in my head. Didn't know why at the time, but I remember I had to shout out to Miss Beadle. I don't know if she's still living. My 6th grade teacher, Miss Beadle, she walked up to me, and these are pivotal points in my life. She walked up to me and she was like, "Gabriel, can I see you outside?" And she like pinched that. I don't know if you ever been pinched by an old white lady. She like pinched and like turned like 2 o'clock a little bit, and it hurt like hell. And she said, "Gabriel, I don't understand why you're not doing the work. I know you can do it, but I don't understand why not." She said, "Well, you know you're going to fail 6th grade, and then you can get yourself together. You can start over next year." And right there in reality set in, I said, "Oh, I'm not passing." So I made a promise to myself when I got myself together. Emotions. Share me. I want you to share with me some things that you went through emotionally, as far as like, when was your emotions come out? Is it when you was writing, or just say you may have been in a relationship, you may just get emotional in certain situations. Can you speak on anything that makes you emotional?
Emotions for me, and the crazy part is writing is not just like some sort of avenue I always use. Like I knew how to write an essay for school, but writing, I didn't realize that writing was my gift. I'm just like, yeah, I can write an essay, I could do that. Right. But so my emotions for me were just overthinking. Like a lot of times I am stuck in my head. And I would be thinking about like, well, I wonder where my mom is at. Like, is she alive? Because it would be like months where I haven't talked to the lady. So I would just, a lot of the times it would be by myself, in my head, in my feelings, just wondering like, where is she at? Or maybe things would be different. Like if I'm getting mad at my granny, or what if my mama was here? Like maybe it wouldn't be this way. Or seeing my siblings struggle, or like there was a lot more responsibility on me to take care of them, comb their hair, cook their dinner because she's not there. So sometimes it'll be emotions like, now I'm frustrated. I don't have a normal life of a regular girl my age because I have to step in and help with the mom role.
Right. So you got to be a teenager and a mom at the same time. Yes. A young lady and a mom.
And I'm like, I shouldn't have to do this. Like, why do I have to do that? So like, I'll be angry, then I'll be sad, I'll be confused.
Right.
So.
For me, I learned how to channel my emotions. I learned how to become stone faced. I learned how to, even when I was hurt, I could smile. Even when I was going through extreme pain, I could still tell jokes. And I knew it. I was able to channel. It was like a switch. But people on the inside didn't really know. I was suicidal. I used to go through, what I didn't know was I used to go through rituals.
Okay.
Didn't die. I didn't know what I was doing then, but I would, for me to make my day go by, I would, in my head, I would pick this up 3 times until I got it right. And nobody knew what I was doing. And I freed myself from that once I got older and understood. I started studying stuff, and I was like, damn, that's what I was doing. But all those things I was going through in life, and it stemmed from that. When I got into sports, I played with angry. Anytime I put on my football gear, when I ran track, I would cry. And that compelled me to be, it made me a monster. You know what I mean? And I know that's where it came from. So it did help me, but I just didn't like the pain part.
It was like motivation. The essay I wrote that got me my full ride academic scholarship.
Oh.
It was about my mother and my story.
Right. See?
It was like I literally had to use okay, I'm in this environment where I don't have my mother. I'm seeing people in my family. Only my grandmother and I went to college. So everyone else either doesn't have a job.
Okay. So I'm just gonna start it back out. How you feel so far?
I feel good. I feel like we was having a conversation.
Right. All right. So what made you put this together? Not what made you put it together. The process of, because it had to be a thought process first. You had to reach out to somebody to help you create this. Do you got anybody you want to shout out?
My graphic designer, because I really he designed my logo, but I really feel like had anyone else designed it would not have been this clearly. But my vision, because for each card, I had a concept of what I want the outside to look like, and I was very specific, but I just can't draw.
Right.
And my mother actually does draw, so she was my first person that I consulted, and I'm like, okay, I have this greeting card idea, I want you to do the designs for it. Right. But she was experiencing some eye problems, so she couldn't do it. So I'm like, okay, I know a graphic designer, he did my logo, let me see if he's capable. Right. And he was like, yeah, I can do that. So for each card, I'm like, okay, Mother's Day is coming up. I thought about the situations. Okay, what situation do I want to speak to? What do I want the outside to look like? So, for example, the bestseller, the mama one that you have in your hand, I'm like, when I think of a strong black woman, I want her to not be stereotypical. So I'm thinking of shows I've seen and characters, and I'm like, I like the whole confident bald look. Right. That shows you're confident, you don't care what people say, and it's just, and even the endearment in her eyes, he captured all of that. So I'm just and then I thought about what I said in the card, and that was the hardest card to write, honestly, because I didn't have the regular mama situation. Thanks. So it shocked me that was the bestseller. So
what I want you to do is, I want you to, can you memorize this?
Is it oh no, it is.
What I want you to do is, I want you to introduce this is her best-selling card. Then I want you to, first of all, tell them where could they find this and how can they purchase this.
Am I looking here?
Yes.
Okay, so you can purchase all of my greeting cards. The Mother's Day collection is still online. My website, www.inspiredbyibrina.com. And for the...
Right. Go ahead.
This one in particular, I just explained the concept for the outside. But the inner part, I have to ask multiple people, how would you describe the relationship with you and your mother? Because the one I wrote for my mom, that was a different type of card, but I haven't had this regular relationship with my mother. Right. And my best friend and her mom was actually the inspiration for this. So it says, without you being the courageous and strong woman that you are, I would not be half of the person that I am. Mm-hmm. Every seed you have planted, dollar you have invested, value you have instilled, and seconds you have devoted has not gone unnoticed. Words will never express the immense amount of gratitude I have for you. I love you. Happy Mother's Day.
Wow. Okay. Round of applause for this. Listen, man. You are a hero. You are, because I already know you're gonna save a lot of people. You're gonna help a lot of people. You are helping a lot of people because I didn't have this help. I didn't have nothing to go and read. You know what I'm saying? Only thing I had was my little thoughts and how I view my mom, confused, this and other at those times. How's your relationship with your mom today?
Today, our relationship is definitely a lot better
than
it was. We talk on the phone. When I go home, we visit. Right. And I know that she is there for me if I need her.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Because the thing about it is, like, for every story, you want the triumph at the end. Right. You want the championship trophy at the end of each story, and then sometimes at every hard story, it's not always a championship trophy at the end. You know what I mean? So at that point, sometimes you have to dig for one to validate, to deal with your emotions at that point. So you have to come up with something to feel like you captured freedom or whatever. For me, like me and my mom didn't have a good relationship until I moved out. Okay. You know what I'm saying? It was always something. And the day I left, my mom was like, "Hey, you need to get out of here. Don't come back." I didn't understand it, but hey, I packed my stuff and left. And was like, because I don't understand, because for a woman, I can't even imagine what you were going through as a woman. As a young man, it's kind of got to get pushed out. You know what I'm saying? So it just made me harder. You know, it just made me smarter. For me and my mom, we great. We talk about everything, we laugh. And I'm also going to do an interview with her. Oh. And we're going to have a...
That'll be amazing.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I told her straight up, I was like, look, and my mom, one of my number one fans. And I was like, look, if you think you just going to be all smiles up in here, we going deep. It's going to be me and you. We going deep. And she was like, I'm ready. You know what I mean? So, tell me about the rest of these cards you have right here.
Okay, so let's see. What do we have here? This right here, Mother of My Seed. Mm-hmm. This one, I know a lot of people, I guess my age, older, who they aren't necessarily with their child's mother, but they still want that healthy relationship. So it's like they're co-parenting. So that's a co-parenting card. Okay. We have Big Mama. Mm-hmm. That was inspired by my Big Mama, and I know for me, Big Mama is my great grandma. Okay. And it just like it talks about how she's cooking, she's
cornbread. How on cornbread?
How on cornbread? Yes. The next one, Auntie. I have a special relationship with the aunts that I have in my life, and I just feel like that was just the perfect. Like they're not your mom, they aren't your grandmother, but they're your auntie. Right. And Bonus Mom, that was actually the last one I wrote for the Mother's Day collection. One of my girlfriends was like, "Oh, do you have one for like a stepmom?" And I'm like, you know what? I didn't think about that. Right, okay, so that was like really just for my friend Sade. So shout out to Sade. This one right here, Bae. This came from healthy relationships that I've seen like through my friends on social media, and just what I want. So when I wrote this, I'm like, ooh, what do I want my future husband to say to me on Mother's Day?
Got you.
That's that one. OG. This came from my brother and the relationship he has with his mom. So you were like a troublemaker, getting kicked out of school and going to jail. Right. That's for your OG. Mommy, this was a little girl to her mom on Mother's Day. And then this mama one, which I feel like is very unique. This is like, you see the needle and the alcohol. Like this was for my mom on Mother's Day. And Granny, this was for my heart. Like my granny raised me. This was just for her. This was
shout out to Granny.
Yeah, shout out to Granny.
So I'm gonna tell you what's going through my mind right now. While you were just going through all that, because the moment I know how to take advantage of the moment. Okay. I like, and I didn't even know that it was such a thing. Like as far as a book called The Moment, I've mastered living in the moment. And what I was, as you was talking, all I can think about is colleges, prisons, school, the military. These cars can be vessels to all these different major places and entities. Because I'm quite sure somebody in the military, no, not somebody, thousands of women and soldiers would love to have these to send back and forth. The prison systems would love to have these as vessels going back and forth. Colleges, institutes. That's all I can think of you, because you just going, mama, brother, auntie, such and such, such and such. So, and I'm just going back to when I first saw you on the thing, I was inspired immediately. I was like, yo, that's dope. You know what I mean? That's dope. I gotta get her on here so she can speak about this. You know, I wouldn't care if it was 40 people that saw this. So there's 40 new people.
Yeah,
times 40. I think in numbers. You know what I mean? So, hey man, salute to you.
Thank you for having me on your platform.
Right.
Like, thank you for the opportunity to speak about my cards.
In closing remarks, anything else you want to say? Anything you want to add on? First of all, let me say this. Shout out to our mothers. Whatever cards they dealt, that they was dealt at those times. So, because I never bashed my mom. I never put her down. I never did that. I just understood that was a period of time that she went through in her life. You know what I mean? So I just want to make sure all the viewers that's watching this, just like we just said earlier, this is just the story. We have to talk about the story. Some stories are good, some stories are bad. You know what I mean? But you have to learn from it. So is there anything that you want to say to the kids? You know what I'm saying? Or whoever, you know what I'm saying? My message, I like to be intentional about what I say. Right. But honestly, to keep pushing, like you can make it through. Right. Like regardless of what your circumstance or situation is, like I'm a living testimony of you can push through. Mm-hmm. Like your mindset is everything. Right. So just changing your mindset, no matter how young or old you are, because I was a young girl in second grade. My teacher pulled me to the side and she was like, Trinity, like I see the friends you have, like you're better than that, you're smarter than that, like you're going to be something. She spoke life into me. She saw something at a young age. Mm-hmm. And it's like that just stuck with me. So I literally believe, like you said, everyone has a story, everyone has a purpose. Like, so keep fighting, keep pushing through, like, period. Like, right.
Period, that's it.
Right. All right, again, shout out, tell them how they can get this one more time.
Yeah, so Mother's Day cards, Father's Day, it's in the work right now. Graduation cards, like I will literally, anything you can get from Hallmark or American Greetings, I will have it. That's so go to my website, www.inspired, INSPIRED, by BY, Ibrena, IBRENA.com. Right. Subscribe so you will know whenever we get new greeting cards, because they are there. Follow me on Instagram, Inspired by Ibrena Cards. I'm also a life coach, Inspired by Ibrena LLC.
All right, y'all. It's been a day part of the podcast. Your host, Go Lucky, with the lovely Trinity Ibrena. Bam! Y'all stay tuned for more exclusive.